Hey math kids, today we're going to talk in the context of these type of quadratic functions, how to find the roots from factored form. So the process is pretty similar to what we did when we were using t-factoring. However, it's a little different. So let me change the color. Okay, these are just the answers that we got from the previous video when we factored, and now we want to find the roots. Now, remember what the roots are. So if we graph them in Desmos, so this red one is the first one we'll deal with. The roots are just where it crosses the x-axis. So we have 0.2 and negative 0.667. So it's like, okay, looking at this, how do we find that? It's not as easy as it was before. Now conceptually it's the same thing though. So on the x-axis, all of the y values are 0. So we're just setting this equal to 0. Is what we're going to do. And there's a little bit shorter way, but I just want to explain it in the context of this problem first, and then we'll talk about the way to make this a little bit quicker. So we set y equal to 0. Now, if we have two things multiplied together, and we know that the answer is 0, what that tells us is x is equal to 0, or y is equal to 0, or both. Oops, both equal 0. Okay, so we're going to take this, it's called the zero product property. Okay, so the zero product property. And the way that we use it, and you don't really need to remember the name or anything like that, but we're just going to take each of these pieces and set them equal to 0. So we're going to say 5x minus 1 equals 0, and then 3x plus 2 equals 0, because either of them could equal 0 to make it true. Okay, and then from here we just do basic algebra. We just add 1, get 5x equals 1, and then divide by 5, divide by 5, which means x equals 1/5. Okay, and then we'll solve the other one as well. So we subtract 2, we get 3x equals negative 2, divide by 3, and x equals negative 2/3. Okay, we got these two roots, these two answers, and Desmos is always going to give you a decimal for an answer. So if you're not comfortable with this, just do 1 divided by 5, we get 0.2, and then negative 2 divided by 3, so we get negative 0.67. So if we round those, we're gonna, well, we didn't need to round this one, but this one is 0.2, and this is negative 0.67 when it's rounded. And if we go to Desmos and look at that, we get negative 0.667, they rounded just out one more, and then 0.2. So we see that we got the same answer. Okay, now let's do this next one, but we will just do it a little bit quicker. Okay, so the first thing, this was the problem that we had to factor out the 2 first. That actually doesn't play a role when we're finding roots at all. It's important to give us the same equation so it doesn't do nothing, but in this context where we're doing roots, we're just going to get rid of it because we don't really care about it. Really the reason is we would say 2 equals 0, and then 5x minus 4 equals 0, and 2x minus 3 equals 0. And this is a false, this is not true. 2 equals 0 is false, and so we just throw that out. Okay? Now we're just going to go through the algebra real quick. So we add 4, we get 5x equals 4. And then divide by 5. And so x equals 4/5. Then over here we add 3. And then we divide by 2. And x equals 3/2. Okay. So we go to our calculator. We turn those into a decimal. So say 4 divided by 5 gives us 0.8. And then this is going to be 1.5. 3 divided by 2. Okay, now we go to Desmos to check our work. I already have it set up right here. So we have 0.8, 1.5, so they both worked out. Okay, now try this last one. So we take each piece, set it equal to 0. So we say 0 equals 2x plus 1, and 0 equals negative 3x minus 5. And so we subtract 1 from both sides. We get negative 1 equals 2x. Divide by 2, and so x equals negative 1/2, which is negative 0.5. Okay, this one we add 5, so 5 equals negative 3x, divide by negative 3, and we get negative 5/3 is equal to x. And negative 5/3 is 1.6. Yeah, so 1.67. Oops. But it's negative. Okay, so we should have negative 0.5 and negative 1.67. When we look at this one, negative 1.67 and negative 0.5. If you need additional help, please come to Math Lab. Until then, calculator.